Caps. We're joined now by Fox NBA analyst Jim Jackson and Caron Butler. As you all know, I'm a journalist, and we've got our resident Ivy Leaguer, Marcellus Wiley, Columbia's very own. So we're going to take a deeper look at some big issues in sports. We've got a special cap for our Columbia grad. Darnell, bring it in.
Oh, huh? Working overtime today, huh? 2 segments, oh, huh?
Grinding, yeah. Darnell,
one day,
right.
he gonna steal on you one day.
And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt, all of it.
Ron, you're Connecticut, right? Did you go to Connecticut?
See me?
Yeah, all right.
See me?
All right, let's move to the NBA, where Luka Doncic had another big game last night, dropping 21 points, 10 assists, and 9 boards in a win over the New Orleans Pelicans. Doncic has been having a stellar rookie season, which got owner Mark Cuban spouting a controversial theory last week about what America can learn about basketball from Doncic's home country of Slovenia, saying, quote, "If we took our best kids and 7 years before they are McDonald's All-American, we sent them over to Slovenia to get an education, the league would be 1,000 times better. They just learn how to play basketball while our guys learn how to dunk and put together mixtapes." Wow.
Gannon.
All right, look, definitely Mark Cuban has a type, and I don't blame him. Dirk Nowitzki, he fell in love with the European player, and he wants to duplicate that again, and it looks like he struck gold. And maybe there's some truth to what he's saying. I'm going to bite my tongue a little bit and let the other guy.
Really?
I think there might be some.
No, I'm talking about you go bite your tongue.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm going to wait.
Too many shots being fired. I got out the way.
I'm going to bite my tongue. I think there is a little truth in terms of, do we have the best basketball culture in terms of development? If our talent was being developed other places where they can really focus on it, maybe our talent would be even better.
Whew. Who are you talking to, Mark Cuban, with these comments, and who are you talking about? Maybe that's why you may want to bite your tongue. I might want to bite my tongue, but there was a shot that came from these comments that I felt, and I was like, wait a minute. Because we all know the NBA was 70, 80% African-American. Okay, that's fine. Not every single player in the NBA is black. But then, if you look at all the good players this year, maybe there's 2 exceptions that are going to be all-stars that are going to be non-black players, which one may be your own player and the rookie. And let's go Djokovic, probably, and maybe that's it. And which is skewing differently than this globalization of the NBA game that's supposed to be all-inclusive and diversified. And he's living under a false reality. Because if most of this league, especially the great players, are black, what is there to say about this better way of schooling these players and they will become better basketball players when the reality is all the great basketball players are this way in this culture? So I just say, who you're talking to and who you're talking about. You found another 1 in a million in terms of these are kids who are teenagers who are brought into a professional ranks. And you found one, and then you found another, not even from the same country.
20 years later.
20. So what culture is so damned that it's not giving those players the proper opportunities in America? This AAU culture he talks bad about, I don't see the issues.
I think the best players in the planet, obviously come from the United States of America. Hands down. Like, let's start that conversation right there. And then when you're talking about the players with the best ability, you can find them at your local Martin Luther, somewhere balling, introducing you to Booker T. Washington High School, something like that. Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
But he has a point when you're talking about, skill set and development. Because you look at grassroots in the AAU system, some of those things, the money is used to pump money back into grassroots. But it's not used for the development of the individual, the kids. And I think that's important. So when you look at Luka's situation, he's a kid that's been playing professionally since he was 15, 16 years old. So that obviously he's going to be better from a skill set standpoint and all those things. He's playing against grown men at an early age on the biggest stage, in the right settings, in the right environments and things like that. So if you take some of the best talents that we have and do the same thing with that, imagine what that would look like. But right now, when you look at the names, I think LeBron James, KD, Steph Curry. I mean, we're not doing bad.
I'm about to say, well, how you going to do better?
I think I agree with Mark from the skill set like you talked about. Okay, but the education system is built differently here in the United States. Okay, from an academy perspective, that's how it's been in Europe, okay? In the United States, it hasn't been like that. So to kind of break that mold, you're going to have to totally, that's why I think people push back at IMG Academy. All you're going to do is focus on basketball. What about the education? Well, the education is there, but it's not part of our blueprint in regards to America. So that has to change. I think when we were younger, we went to basketball camps. So at basketball camps, you got station work the first part of the day. So it was all skill work. And then you played later on that day. So you worked on your skill at a young age, and then you continue to get better. The high school coaches had more control. You had guys who played the game and understood it. So now they taught the game a lot different. I think where we lost a little bit is when we went away from that system, okay? AAU now, and sometimes they did it in high schools, but AAU now is guys that really haven't played the game. They got some money and said, I'm gonna get a team, I'm gonna get my boys, and I'm gonna put this together. I had an AAU team for 20 years. One thing we always did was try to teach the kids how to play the game, but more importantly, we tried to input some things in life, especially because we had a lot of young black boys. And we wanted them to be better, not just for the game, but for, you know, life in general. The biggest game you play is life. So I agree with Mark from the skill set perspective, but when you take a shot and you say mixtapes, bro, when you go to YouTube, the mixtapes that you generally see are African-American boys. That somebody put together those mixtapes, highlight tapes, that's really what they were, with music in the backdrop. Who do you think you're referring to? So if you put it out there like that without really digesting into that and really going into it and saying what you're doing, then everybody's gonna take it for a different reason.
I think his point about mixtapes is that there are certain plays and things you can do on the court that look awesome on your mixtape YouTube video.
Oh, big. They're going to put all the highlights on there.
Yeah.
They're going to put all the highlights on there.
And so it takes you away from just fundamental skill set development. The point that you made that I had never thought of and just blew my mind was, because I remember, like, you did used to go off to basketball camp. Now everything is just about playing summer basketball, AAU. It's not a camp teaching environment. It's just we go to city in Las Vegas and just play the game. And so I don't know if he's really taking a pot shot as much as he's saying over in Europe, if you show talent in these areas in basketball, we'll let you go to academy and just work on that and ignore all the other stuff.
Well, keep in mind, Steph didn't play AAU ball. You know, he didn't play AAU ball. You know, his father kept him away from that. You know, so he taught him certain skill sets, and I don't know who else worked with Steph because I really don't know, but I know he didn't play AAU. You know what I mean?
That's why I think we're starting to see basketball's really becoming an elite sport. I think we're seeing a lot of players, kids, play the game well now.
Yeah, you are, because you can't out-train DNA. So if your kid has it in them, like all this, doctors would tell you that left and right. Like,
but Jim's going to develop his son's basketball skills properly. Dale Curry.
And he's going to build them on top of a foundation of my daddy was Jimmy Jackson flowing through this. And it's, you know, Steph Curry has his father. Like, it's going to be a whole different animal. But I will say this. I think this may be just a shot at one person and player in particular, and we all just felt the collateral. It's a shot at maybe Dennis Smith Jr.
Oh, yeah.
The one and done on his own team that he drafted last year. Bow.
We felt the buck shots.
Yeah, because he's like, he's trade block material, right? Everyone's saying that now. And why is he that? Because of what Luka's done. And then now maybe he's like, look, this is why this kid is not franchise worthy. He's into something else. And maybe we just have taken it to this extreme. But when you take that shot at him, there's a line of players in that same mode that I think they're also going to take that same
And I don't want to take a shot at Luka and the guys that come over and play, because they deserve, because they
and he's playing well.
And remember, we were in China together, and we looked at Luka from the beginning and said, if he can do this and this, he can play. So we don't want to take away from what these guys have done, Dirk and all these guys, especially Luka right now, because the pressure is on him as a rookie. That man can play. Okay, so let's not take shots and say Luka shouldn't be there, because he should.
But why take shots at the majority? Yeah. Because you're thinking there's this new reality that they could even be better where you're getting these one-off players from overseas they're not contributing to the same degree as those who are homegrown, as you talked about.
I mean, if it's a trending thing for the next couple of years, and you look at like this 4 or 5 year window going forward, I don't know how you can forecast that future, but if you can, and all of a sudden you're starting to see a lot of bodies from the international space coming over and dominating, not just being here on the roster.
Right.
We probably go on the roster still.
Yeah.
I'm talking about dominating.
Exactly.
If you do that, then the discussion changes.
Marcellus, I love your point about Dennis Smith Jr. because Dennis Smith Jr. has a world of talent. And they got a hell of a coach there, Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle can coach. Everybody agrees with that. I hadn't even thought about, I had even forgotten about Dennis Smith Jr. because Luka's playing so well. He's like totally erased it. But Dennis Smith Jr. has a world of talent. He's probably not that coachable. And his skills, his fundamentals haven't been developed. The guy's been dunking, doing amazing dunks most of his life.
And the problem is in a league, as you know, you're really not going to develop or get taught because it's on-job training and you got to kind of put in that work yourself. In the league, it's not like in college, you know, you really getting taught and trained. In the league, it's not like that. If you can't fit the bill, you end up either playing in the G League or going somewhere else.
All right, coming up, our